Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 129, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. I am your host, Zachy Hassan, and with me is your other host, Brian Hall.
Hey, what's going on?
Well, Brian, it's morning, which is nice because it's daylight out, and we are creatures of the day. I've learned we are not nocturnal animals.
Yeah, we can tend to get a little sluggish, understandably, after a full day.
But I am fighting something. I have the onset of the sickness happening, and so this is the level of dedication I have to this show. I'm like, we're going to power through this.
Well, I appreciate it. And there's like few things worse than knowing it's coming. When you get that tickle in your throat and you're like, no.
Well, the problem with living in a house with 5 kids is it's like you're living in a petri dish, basically. And so one of them gets sick and it just starts traveling up the chain. And my 3-year-old yesterday, he grabbed my face and he just sneezed directly on my face. So he grabbed my face, he looked me in the eye, right in my face. And so at that moment, you're like, all right, well, it's all over. Like at that moment, it's like getting bit on The Walking Dead. You're like, well, I am for sure going to become a zombie.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's going to happen.
It's so, it feels like something out of like a movie, like a Parenthood movie or something. It's so.
Yeah. And so I learned one very important thing yesterday, which is that not all vitamin C is chewable.
Oh.
And you should check.
Was it pretty gnarly, like biting on a Tylenol or something?
It's weird because there is no middle ground, right? There's one kind of vitamin C where you put it in your mouth and it tastes like like
an orange or something.
Orangey pill, right? Yeah. And then the other kind tastes like powdered Satan, basically.
Ugh. I can picture it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you just put powdery death in your mouth. That's what it tastes like. And nothing works. Water doesn't work. I tried to boil my tongue. That didn't work.
Well, sometimes when something tastes terrible, you get this feeling that it's going to work more. Like, did you get that sense? Like, well,
it's going to work more for the future, where I will always check.
Yeah. Well, good.
Because my wife handed it to me, and I just pop it in, and I'm like, man, that is like the worst tasting orange I've ever had. She's like, wait, did you chew it?
I don't know if I've ever had vitamin C that you don't chew.
That right?
Yeah.
Why does that exist? Why does non-chewable? If there is a chewable option, that should obsoletize the non-chewable one. That's all I'm saying.
I totally agree. We used to get Shaklee. If you remember Shaklee, it was like, and the Shaklee vitamin C. I actually really like those. But I've always liked really weird sour stuff. So,
I mean, I'm sure you've had that happen where you get like the aspirin on your tongue.
Oh yeah, it starts to dissolve too quick because you didn't pour the water before you popped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like just the like you would rather God just take you off this earth than deal with having to work through that taste.
Yeah. Yeah.
This wasn't that bad, but it was one of the worst things I've ever tasted.
Ugh, sorry, man. Well, I hope it kicks into your bloodstream faster because you chewed it up, and I don't know. I'm just trying to.
This was yesterday afternoon, and I still can't get the memory of the taste out of my head. So
yeah,
that's bad news.
Well,
but regardless,
yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to be laid up sick this weekend, I have something to recommend to you that I watched on Netflix.
Ooh.
And it is a comedy special by Bo Burnham called Make Happy. And this was something that I had on another podcast I listened to. One of the hosts recommended it, and then one of the other hosts watched it and loved it. And so I was like, okay, I'll check this out. And the way they pitched it was it felt like a deconstruction of the comedy special. And are you familiar with Bo Burnham?
Vaguely.
Yeah, he's very young, and he, as far as I know, I mean, this is just my own experience with him, but he was on YouTube making these funny songs that were sort of like ironic. Like they'd be sort of like those ironic rap songs from like a Skinny White Kid, or they would be something where they were really well composed, but his lyrics were, really weird and contradictory. But the thing was, he's a very good lyricist.
Gotcha.
He's very good lyricist. And so I was familiar with him, and I had liked what I'd seen, but I hadn't really followed him, and I think he's had specials before. But anyway, I checked out Make Happy, and I have to say, I really like this special a lot. It's partially stand-up, but I would say it's only 20% stand-up. And mostly the stand-up is almost to diffuse some weird performance piece he's just done. So he'll do some sort of funny performance piece that's crazy stage production. I mean, the lights and the choreography, there's timing. Like he'll hold up his finger and like a gun noise will go off. So, I mean, there's a huge production going on backstage supporting his weird sort of surreal performance art. But then the way that he sort of gets out of these awkward things is by telling a joke. And the joke is funny, but the joke is more for him to move on to something else so he can go to another sort of weird performance arty set piece. And and then it goes, and there's a bunch of songs, and they're all really good. And then it takes kind of a turn toward the end where he starts getting a little thinky. And
Sure.
It's one of those things where it could possibly, if it was done wrong, it could sort of push you away. But I thought he did it really well. And when it was over, I actually found myself clapping in my living room by myself. I was so like, I enjoyed what I just watched, and I just started clapping. So I think people, I don't think it's going to be for everybody. I think some people are going to be like, what is he doing? But
Sure.
if what I've said sounds interesting to you or intriguing, I think people will check it out and not be disappointed. So I really recommend it. Make Happy, Bo Burnham. It's on Netflix.
Make Happy.
Yeah.
Not Mick Happy.
Make Happy. No, that sounds like a follow-up documentary by Spurlock.
Right? But the seedy underbelly of Happy Meals.
Yeah, exactly.
Make Happy. Okay, that's on Netflix. I saw a few things, Brian.
Yeah, what'd you see?
I've seen some things, Brian. So first up, in theaters right now is American Assassin.
We were saying before the show, whenever I hear that title, I get it confused. I'm like, I don't know what that is because it sounds like 12 other things. So,
And it feels like 12 other things. So that that
so
instinct
what is this?
So this is it's an adaptation of a book series by Vince Flynn about this character Mitch Rapp, who's like a CIA counterterrorism assassin, as the title implies. And it stars Dylan O'Brien, who the only thing I know him from is the Maze Runner movies.
Is he the lead in those movies? I can kind of picture his face.
Yeah,
The lead.
he's the main character.
Okay.
So he plays Mitch Rapp, and he's this guy whose girlfriend is killed by terrorists. So he goes onto a vengeance-fueled drive to kill brown people, basically. Bearded brown people.
Okay. Like,
And
okay.
he gets recruited by the CIA to be the American assassin
We've
of
been
the title.
following your work.
Yeah, it basically. I mean,
Okay.
And it's just funny because, I mean, we talked about this last time. You know, we watched that documentary about Canon Films.
Yes.
And this could just, you could just slot this right in. You could put Michael Dudikoff in the lead role.
Really? That bad?
It really, I mean, I'm not exaggerating because that was my thought again and again. I was like, what is this? Is this the 1980s? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's. I saw the Delta Force 30 years ago, exactly 30 years ago. And that was the first time I was like, damn, they're really like being stereotypical with Muslim characters. Mm-hmm. And it occurs to me watching this, here we are 30 years later, they've never stopped. Like, this is what they do when they depict the Middle East.
It's funny because I have not seen it. I mean, I've seen the trailer, and as you're describing it, I mean, it sounds like a movie that's way out of time. It seems kind of surprising.
It is or it isn't, right? Because there is an audience that will adore this movie. And
yeah,
it's the same audience that adores, you know, Gerard Butler beating up bearded brown people. I'm gonna make a movie called BBP, Bearded Brown People, where some kind of satirical look at this phenomenon because it's so consistent. You know?
I guess something so blunt is what I mean. But I actually forgot about the London is Falling. I remember you talking about that now.
Yeah, it's all part of the same, family tree. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and it's a shame too because Michael Keaton is in it, and he's great because he's Michael Keaton.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's slumming it here, but he's fantastic.
Right.
They want this to be a Jason Bourne type thing, obviously, because it's like a 12-book series and counting. This O'Brien kid, I don't know. He just he doesn't. It's weird because the villain in the film is played by Taylor Kitsch, who is like, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And Taylor Kitsch plays like the former American assassin who like fell out because for whatever reason. And so it's like, so they confront each other and he's like, so you're the new me. And I'm like, this is the most meta commentary on Hollywood I've ever seen. Right?
That's funny.
Because am I wrong? 5 years ago, this would have been Taylor Kitsch in the lead role.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That would be funny if they had tailored the dialogue. It's like, so your work didn't necessarily set the world on fire, kid. And now you're after me. Well, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah.
Like, you're coming after me, you'd better be ready to take on a battleship,
Yeah.
And he turns to the camera. Because I was in Battleship.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I always, whenever I look at these films that look at specifically Middle Eastern issues and how they're depicted. I mean, obviously, I have an extra level of sensitivity to that, but it's just so like the Taylor Kitsch character is working with these Iranians, right? And the whole bit is that like the Iranian government, because there's a treaty right now, a nuclear treaty between that the US that Iran has to not develop nuclear weapons, and the Iranian characters like we have this treaty that we have to work under, and they're like mad about the treaty, and then Taylor Kitsch like gives them the bomb. He's like, go, you can kill all the Jews you want, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's hilarious.
That's real. I'm not making that. And it's funny because I mentioned this in my review. You have dialogue like because he's the best. Mitch Rapp. Why do we know he's the best? All of his tests were off the charts. I'm like, what are these tests? Why are they always off the charts?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just a cliche factory, and it sucks. And don't watch it.
Yeah.
Don't encourage this.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said, don't encourage this behavior from Hollywood.
Yeah, I cannot imagine this movie. I mean, particularly coming out after It last weekend. I can't even imagine this being anything.
Now, that being said, there is another film that's coming out, and I think but it'll have been out by the time we record our next episode, called Stronger. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of this one?
Not off title alone. I was actually looking at the document, like, what's that?
So this stars Jake Gyllenhaal as Jeff Bowman.
Yes.
Who lost his legs in the Boston bombing. So we talk about tackling terrorism from an entirely different point of view. Mm-hmm. This looks at it squarely from the perspective of the victims. It has only very tangentially to do with the investigation. That was covered last year in that other movie, right?
Patriots Day?
Patriots Day. Did you see that?
I did.
What would you think of that?
I'm not tied to that event at all, and I know a lot of people were very sensitive about it, thinking it was too soon and kind of exploitive.
Sure.
But as a watch, I didn't mind it as a procedural, if I'm being honest.
So I suppose you could look at this movie as being sort of an adjunct to that,
Yeah.
like telling different sides of that. But it follows the tropes of sort of like the inspirational story, trademark and copyright.
Right.
And I'm not in any way being dismissive of obviously the real life struggle that Jeff Bowman went through. I think it is predictable.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, well, those things work. Like I think I've said this before, where I watch a movie, I'm like, oh, it's just a Disney sports film.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, you know exactly what's going to happen, but that doesn't mean you don't feel uplifted by the end. Yeah,
and it's a terrific performance by Jake Gyllenhaal. He produced it also. For sure, it's like an Oscar bait performance, but he's really, really good in it.
Yeah.
It's almost worth watching for him. I will say it's set in Boston, and I had flashbacks to The Fighter with the family, the extended family of the character.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh, Miranda Richardson plays his mom, and she's going for the prized Melissa Leo Award for like most obnoxious Bostonian mom of a real life character in a biopic based on a Boston figure.
That's so funny. That's become a trope. But I can already picture it. So
Yeah, it's. Yeah. I mean, when you watch it, you will notice that for sure.
Yeah.
Clancy Brown is in it as his father, and it's just nice to see Clancy Brown and stuff.
Yeah. Is he play a heavy?
You'd kind of think so, but not so much. Like I think essentially what the film is depicting is how in the aftermath of the bombing, Jeff Bauman was sort of put out there as a hero. This is Boston strong. They keep saying that again and again. Like, look at the perseverance and stuff. And essentially his entire family was looking past the real life struggle he was going through, because they didn't want to have to grapple with that reality. I mean, think about that for a second. You're in this situation you wouldn't wish on anybody. You lose your legs.
Right.
I mean, think about it, right? It's like, would you rather be completely anonymous and still have your legs? I think every single person on this earth would rather have that.
Yeah.
Right? And so he's like, stop calling me a hero. Like, I can't get out of bed.
Right. Right.
I need help to get on the toilet,
Yeah.
And so I think Jake Gyllenhaal does an amazing job of really expressing that internal struggle. And like I said, I mean, it's worth watching for him. I don't think the film is revolutionary, but I think he's just terrific. And it's crazy to, I don't know, as I was watching, I was thinking about the fact that, like, I remember watching October Sky in 98 or 99, whenever that was, and being like, man, this kid, he's got talent. Jake Gyllenhaal, that was the first time I saw him. And to be here now almost 20 years later, and man, he has just borne that out.
Yeah.
He's consistently watchable in just about everything that he does. Even when some of his actorly tics are coming through, like I've mentioned Prisoners before, he's always watchable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but now you've piqued my interest, so.
Well, I'm curious what you think of that.
Yeah. Is that
also
out?
opening? It opens on the 22nd.
Oh, wow. I don't even feel like I've seen an ad for it.
Yeah, I wonder what that's been my sense too. So I'm curious how it'll play. I also wonder if people feel it's too heavy a subject.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not an easy. I mean, people didn't watch Patriots Day for kind of the same reason.
Yeah, and that I understand that for sure.
Yeah, well, and I mean another example would be United. 92 was it?
93, yeah.
93, right? And that was like 3 years after 9/11, 4 years.
Yeah, I remember watching that one. Just I don't know, just out of curiosity, I guess. And I went into work, and I remember people being like, "Why? Like, why would you watch that?"
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Why do you want to put yourself through that? And I was like, I don't know. I kind of was compelled to do it. But some of I can completely understand why some people feel a complete aversion to going through those things.
I feel like in terms of making a dramatization of historical events, they're oftentimes, especially something as raw as the Boston bombing or obviously 9/11, there needs to be a passage of time where the evocation of those events doesn't bring forth a whole lot of negative emotions. I mean, I think it's not a shock to me that United 93 didn't do well.
No, same. Yeah, and I think also actually exactly what you're saying about the movie Stronger is it is a movie, and there has to be a degree of artifice to it by necessity. And I think with those events, like you say, when they're still sort of raw in our mind, those things can become really distasteful or turn us off. Feeling Hollywood artifice in something that still strikes a nerve. So yeah, I can understand people's feelings toward those sorts of things.
it's interesting we're having this conversation because it actually provides a good segue into an interview that I wanted to share. So there's a new movie out actually right now in limited release called Rebel in the Rye, and this is about J.D. Salinger.
Ah.
And it stars Nicholas Hoult as Salinger, and it's written and directed by Danny Strong.
Okay.
Who he created the TV series Empire. He also wrote the movies Recount and Game Change about the 2000 election and the 2008 election.
Yeah.
So I had a chance to talk to Danny about the film. This is a directing debut, and in addition to discussing Rebel in the Rye, which is based on a biography of J.D. Salinger. And by the way, I don't know if people know this, J.D. Salinger, he wrote Catcher in the Rye, you know, and that's what he's known for, is that one book that after which he never wrote again, right?
Right.
So the film gets into that. But in a broader sense, I had a chance to ask Danny about exactly this, about the process of adapting true events and turning them into fiction, and what do you decide to keep in, what do you keep out. And I also mentioned how I screen Game Change in my classes, and how it's perceived very differently by my students than it is by me, because for them that's their engagement with these events, because we're talking about things that are a decade old at this point.
Yeah, wow.
You know. So, yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So we had a really interesting conversation. I want to go ahead and play that right now. So I've been a fan of your political films for a while now. I actually show Game Change in my media classes.
I love that. What are the classes for?
Well, the class I show it in is cultural expression in media. So how we engage specifically with our politics via the fictionalized lens of Hollywood.
And how does it play?
Well, it's actually very interesting because these are mostly college freshmen. So the events that are being depicted in the film are kind of foreign to them, because, you know, we're talking about almost 10 years ago, and so for them it's entirely through the fictionalized frame. So that's fascinating to me, you know, because when I watch the film, it's like, oh, I remember that. Oh, and hey, when she's doing that, oh, I remember that, you know, and it's all stuff that we all lived through, you know. So for me, seeing it for the first time was like a Reader's Digest version of events that I had witnessed at arm's length. But for them, this is now, like, for them, Julianne Moore is their concept of Sarah Palin.
Yeah, that makes I totally get it.
So I've loved those films, and I love the fact that you were passionate enough about the Salinger story to dive into this. You purchased the option. I mean, this was your passion project. So why? I guess that's my question, just to start things off. What was it about the J.D. Salinger story that you were willing to make this your directing debut?
It was the sort of ultimate story of an artist to me. Mm-hmm. It was a way to dramatize the creative process, and I was very moved by the story of a soldier who saw the darkest experiences in war that a person could see, and could come out of that and create this masterpiece that could change hearts and minds and inspire people for decades to come. I thought that was a very beautiful story.
What's your personal history with Catcher in the Rye? Is it like most of us, you read it in high school, or you plugged in early?
Yeah, that's it. I read it when I was 14 and loved it, and like a lot of high school students, and that was the extent of it. So
what was this something that, you know, obviously I know that you wanted to be a filmmaker from an early age. Was this something that you were nursing all along, or was it something where you read the book and you're like, this is it? Like, or was the desire to tell the Salinger story something that predated you reading the book?
The desire to tell the Salinger story predated me reading the book.
Yeah, reading. Sorry, the bio, not Catcher in the Rye. Sorry. No,
it was. I hadn't thought much about Salinger over the years. I
Yeah.
loved the book in high school, and I probably read the rest of his works in college. He was a big American mystery and enigma when I was in high school, and I just bought the biography out of curiosity
Really?
and read it, and what was his true story. It was, like I said, a big mystery, and then I was so taken by his story, I thought I could make a terrific film.
So as a process of adaptation, I mean, not only with this film, but with the other, historical documents that you've made, how do you go about determining what to put in and what to cut out? Because I mean, you're essentially taking an editor's pen to history.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm trying to figure out what the story of the movie is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about what to exclude and what to keep. It's what is your story. If this were a work of fiction, what would be the story? What would be the arc of the character? What would be the climax of the story? What happens? And so it's really a matter of figuring out how to do it as a movie and not as a recreation of historical events or as a documentary.
Mm-hmm. So, in terms of your own experience, obviously, writing and producing is different from directing. Did you encounter any challenges for the first time calling action? This is your first time being essentially in charge of the film. Were there any surprises that you found yourself not necessarily unprepared for, but that you didn't expect going in?
Yeah, everything. I mean, it was so challenging. I only had 26 days to shoot the film, and it was extremely difficult, and just a very, very challenging experience.
Can you talk about working with Nicholas to shape the character? How much of that did you leave to him to sort of come up with, or was it more of a give and take?
Well, it was the script was definitely our guide, but also Salinger's writing itself, and we talked a lot about. I had him write short stories and had him take yoga and had him meditate, and wanted him to sort of experience the emotional reality of the different things Salinger experiences in the movie.
And as far as the overall arc of his life, did you find anything out about him that you didn't necessarily put into the film, but that you found sort of something that was new that you didn't really know about him? I mean, there's obviously plenty that we as the audience don't, but you and your own research for making the film.
Yeah, I mean, there was tons of stuff that was new. Everything. I barely knew anything about him when I read the biography on him, so it was all completely fascinating to me. And to be honest with you, his story is a very fascinating story. There's just so much amazing stuff in it, and a lot of it we've put in the film, but it's a really unique American experience.
And this might be sort of a loaded question, but knowing how prickly he was with his work being adapted, how would you like him to interpret your film if you had the opportunity to sit in a theater with him next to you? How would you like him to plug into it?
He is a very difficult person. I don't think I would expect him to enjoy this on any level.
Well, I mean, circling back around to the sort of arc of your career as far as adapting these real life events, it occurs to me that we're living in a moment that's crying out for another Danny Strong political dramedy document type film with Jay Roach. Is that something that you're considering right now?
Yeah, I'd love to do it.
I feel like we're due for like a trilogy. I think we need to close that out.
Yeah, right.
Although I think we're almost it's through the looking glass because reality has turned into fiction in a way.
Absolutely. I mean, it's as of right now, it's hard to see what quote unquote the story is because we're living through it every day, and there's so much chaos every day. Although it seems like the chaos has slowed down a little bit.
Right.
I think this new chief of staff, I think Kelly is really calm the storms a little bit, because it seems like the last few weeks have been less insane
Right.
than first 6 months or so. But yeah, I think it's a matter of, is there a movie? Is there a story that is more than just retelling the events that happened?
Right. Who's the protagonist?
Exactly.
That's something we need to wait, I think, to figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, as far as upcoming projects that you do have coming up, has this sort of scratched the itch for you as a director? Or is this something that you want to go upwards and onwards with?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see myself directing again.
Do you have anything in the pipeline that you're considering, or is it too early? Are you still trying to sort of get
I'm
Rebel
still
in the Rye?
traumatized by this experience.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, Danny.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks so much.
Well, Rebel in the Rye is in limited release right now. You can seek it out. And if you haven't seen Recount or Game Change, I would highly recommend you check those out. I think they're really terrific pieces of satirical drama based on real events. And with that, Brian, why don't we take a little break and we'll come back with some listener letters and headlines.
Let's do it.
And we're back. Brian, we got some letters.
Let's do it. I love the letters.
Well, and we got a good one here. This is from Rob Kelly, our friend Rob Kelly. And he is responding to our last episode where as you may recall, I was bemoaning the lack of box office success for War for the Planet of the Apes. I consider that a failure of our society.
Just
I
add it to the list.
It's a judgment.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where if aliens were to come and judge us and decide whether to go all Independence Day on us, one of them would be, like, the list of items would be, did you turn up for War for the Planet of the Apes?
Right.
And we would be found lacking.
And they would be right.
That's exactly right. So, but here's Rob's comment. I think this is valid, and he says regarding why people didn't see War for the Planet of the Apes. I have seen every original Apes movie dozens of times. I've seen every episode of the show, the animated series, the Burton reimagining, and the previous two reboot installments. I'm a huge Apes fan, but nevertheless, I did not see War.
What? Interesting.
Yeah, Rob, I don't think we can come on your show anymore, Rob. I gotta say,
That's actually. I mean, I know there's more to go here, but that's kind of fascinating since he has seen literally everything else.
Yeah, we needed you, Rob. You let us down. But he goes on. He elucidates, Brian. Most of it was the trailer. It looked heavy and depressing, not dark and deep. I like my coffee dark and deep. I don't know if you knew that about me.
Isn't that a poem by Robert Frost? Something like "In the woods, dark and deep." Anyway.
I like my ice cream heavy and depressing. I like my coffee dark and deep.
That sounds like the start of a poem. Write that down.
It didn't look like it was offering anything that the previous movie hadn't already done. Now, I still wanted to see it because I'm such an Apes fan and I love Dawn, but when push came to shove, I just never got around to it because I just didn't feel like I was missing much. Now, I admit that was a mistake. I've seen every Apes film on the big screen, and I'm still sorry I missed this one. But if a mega Apes fan like me made that choice, I can picture that a lot more casual viewers might have made the same decision based on the trailer. It made the movie look like homework. I gotta say, Brian, I don't think he's wrong.
As he's saying this, I'm like, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, Rob, you win this round.
Yeah, well, I think I don't have this opportunity as often as you do, but I think I saw that one at a press screening. So there's something more like, oh, this is being offered to me to view, right? And I wonder, actually, if that had not happened, and if we didn't have this show, if it is something I would have rushed out to see, because as he says that about it looking depressing, I can picture it. I can already picture the very blue, dark poster where it looks like dusk in the middle of winter with a angry looking ape on top of a horse and scars, and that in the middle of the summer maybe that doesn't seem like the first thing you would choose for that weekend to go see, particularly if you don't get to see movies often. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're at sort of a juncture point in Hollywood, and I think what we're seeing is people. If this summer demonstrates anything, it's that people are making hard choices about how to spend their movie-going dollar, and that's just an outgrowth of tickets costing an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to hand over, your liver when you buy your ticket.
It's becoming obscene. Yeah. I saw Terminator 2 3D, which I don't know if I mentioned on the show, but it was like $20 to see this stupid movie that that
you've seen a million times.
Yeah.
So you were asking earlier why that didn't do well. I mean, there it is. Right?
That's insanity. $20.
And what that tells you is that 3D is, and we already knew this, but it's not value added anymore.
No. And
I don't know about you, by the way, but I watched T2 despite the 3D, not because I wasn't like, I need to see, how they fake the 3D on this. I was like, well, it's in 3D, but I'll go anyway. It was like that.
I'll admit it caused me to cock my eyebrow a little bit. Like, well, what would that look like? But if they had not gone through that whole process and spent all that money, I would have still gone. And like an idiot, probably paid $20 anyway to see it in the big screen because I was compelled to do it. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I went and saw Star Trek 2 last week. I had mentioned that I was going to go see that, and I took two of my boys, and I took my niece and nephew. We're talking like $70 when all is said and done,
Yeah. Well, and also, I this is digressing a little bit, but Dunkirk.
Yes.
Dunkirk was like, if I have the opportunity to see this in IMAX, that's what we're going to do. And I saw it with my brother, and I bought both of our tickets, and it ended up being like $50 or something like that. And I cringed, but at the same time, it's not something I do for every film, and I'm paying for a specific type of experience, right? But that means it was about $25 each for something that was filmed a certain way, that went through a certain process, that I'm going to view in a way that I cannot ever see again, right? Once it's on Blu-ray or whatever. But the $20 then for this 30-year-old movie or whatever it is, I mean, that's just ridiculous. So yeah. I mean, going back to what you're saying, of course people are going to discriminate more and turn things down. Also in light, this is a whole other conversation, but also in light of the shorter window, right? Like there were some movies I missed this summer, like or even just Baby Driver, which I loved, and I've said many times, it's already out streaming.
Yeah, it's reaching the point where you could go see it in the theater like 10 a.m. opening day, and it'll be on digital like by the time you get home.
I mean, even this weekend, right? I went and saw something, and we were waiting. We got there very early, and my brother's like, let's go watch Wonder Woman. So we walked into Wonder Woman, which I didn't think anything about. And then I later learned that day that that's already out on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I don't know why the theater is still showing it, but it's just so fast.
Well, because it's still making money.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, Wonder Woman and Spider-Man, actually, of all things, have bucked the trend. I mean, they've had long legs.
Yeah. I mean, well, and this, I guess, goes into that whole other news story where basically this has been one of the worst summer box offices in decades.
Yeah.
So...
And I think, we said this last time, so I'm not going to regurgitate it, but I think on the whole, the box office spoke truth in that good movies did well and not so good movies didn't do well. It just so happens that War for the Planet of the Apes kind of got, in the middle there. It got, it got left behind. It's like the Fievel of the summer, basically. There's a metaphor I never thought I'd make, but there it is.
Oh, it's
now
great,
it's out
though.
there for the world and everybody.
An American Tale. But yeah, if this movie had come out at a different time, perhaps maybe a November movie or something.
Somewhere out there.
That's what we sing. That's what I sing right before I boot up to talk to you over over the airwaves.
One final comment from Rob. He says Zaki's impersonation of Javier Bardem was awesome. Well, thank you very much. Please do some lines. Oh, sorry. Please do some lines from from Vicky Cristina Barcelona. I was about to do some lines of Coke. I took that as an invitation. On air. I was going to do that on air and just see what happened.
Oh, I guess you can set the mirror aside now.
I should rewatch Vicky Cristina Barcelona just so I can
stock up.
But until then, I'm looking for Jack Sparrow. I'm not even kidding. I've been doing that all summer. Like my wife's like, you got to stop.
You're right.
You got to stop.
I like it.
Thank you, Rob, for your regular commentaries on our shows. I always look forward to whatever he has to say because it's always substantial. And this is from Kara. She says, "Hey, Zachy and Brian, I loved your mailbag episode." Yeah, we got to do more of those, Brian.
I really enjoyed that. It's sort of because I mean, obviously we have topics that we pick to talk about, but these things sort of keep me on my toes. You know, I have to think on my feet. I kind of enjoy it.
It's true, and for you, that can be challenging sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's brain exercise. It's the equivalent of when Rocky drinks the eggs raw. That's you doing the mailbag show.
Oh,
I picture you kind of jumping up and down, and you're air punching.
Yeah, and I start running through the snow. Running limousines filled with Russians.
But you're holding your laptop in hand, and you have headphones on as you're running, so you can. We got 80s power ballads playing in the background.
Yeah, and I'm running, just saying to you, just like, I don't know why I didn't perform this summer.
So Kara asks, she says, my 6-year-old boy is finally starting to appreciate real movies, and Friday movie night is becoming something we look forward to at home. We've started with very humble beginnings, but trying to set him on the way he should go with E.T. and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. What would be your top 5 classic movie picks for a 6-year-old? Thanks. So, well, E.T. and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you can't go wrong starting there.
When I saw this, I have to say, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I would have never thought of that, but yeah.
That's like a perfect movie for a kid.
Perfect. I totally forgot about that. And I have to imagine, I'm just guessing, but I have to imagine it holds up pretty well.
I saw that movie exactly one time in 1988, so I have no memory of that movie.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I actually remember it quite well. I think, I
remember the TV series.
Right,
I remember the TV show. Do you remember there was a syndicated TV show?
No. A show?
Yeah, really? You don't remember that?
What did they do every week?
Well, it was called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but it was every week was like a different invention.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it starred Peter Scolari in the Rick Moranis role.
Huh. Interesting. No.
See, I remember this stuff, so you don't have to, Brian.
Yeah, I'm really impressed.
Yeah. And there was a sequel, too. Remember Honey, I Blew Up the Kid?
I do remember that. And that was theatrical, I think. But then I think they even made another one. Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, which I don't know.
Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. That was the third one.
Yeah.
The fourth one was Honey, We Shrunk Your Interest in this series. Nobody watched that. Yeah. I don't know, what are some, I mean, I'm thinking about the stuff I've shown my kids recently. Friday movie night, as you know, is like a big thing for me, and I'm experimenting. It's interesting for me because the range that I have to play to is like 6 to 10. And so I probably skew slightly older.
Yeah.
I mentioned that I don't know if I mentioned it, I showed Dick Tracy to the kids after talking about it with you. And I'd forgotten how sexy that movie is.
Yeah, surprisingly. I can't remember if I mentioned that or not, but in Blu-ray high definition, I couldn't believe it. Madonna's wearing some literal see-through outfits.
Madonna is straight up naked in this movie.
Yeah, there's one scene she literally is, and I did not remember this at all because I remember this as like a PG Disney movie. I was very surprised.
Exactly. Well, you realize, and how long has it been since we've seen the Touchstone logo in front of a movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That takes me
and you
back.
forget that Touchstone was their, slightly more mature label.
Right.
And you get that now. Anyway, so that was something I realized as I was watching. I was like, oh, boy.
One of your youngest kids all of a sudden gets a deep voice like, I enjoyed that movie very much, Dad.
Yeah. Can we watch Dick Tracy again? He sounds like Tiny Lister,
Yeah. It's funny. I can't think off the top of my head. I can't think of modern movies really quickly, maybe you could because of things you've had to discriminate for the kids. But like I can think of all the things I watched when I was about 6 or 7 or 8, and
Well, but that's really what it is, right? I mean, what we tend to do, and I know you're going to do this when you have kids, is you're going to be like, hey, this is the stuff I loved. I want to share it with you.
right, exactly.
You know, so I what I would say is it depends on the sensibilities of the kid, but I mean, you can't go wrong with like the Goonies and Explorers, Joe Dante's Explorers, which is, as a kid, like that's one of those movies that you really have to watch it as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't think you can watch it as an adult and have the same appreciation for it.
Yeah, six is still kind of young, I think. But I think more of like an 8-year-old or so. But I think, yeah, for me, around 8 years old. I mean, I saw Back to the Future in '85, and that I remember seeing that in the theater, and that made.
And so you were like 5 or 6.
What's that?
You were like 5 when that came out.
I was, yeah, because it came out in '85.
Yeah.
So I was probably 5 or 6 or something. And then Flight of the Navigator.
Yes.
This is an
Oh,
experiment.
yeah.
I don't know if this movie holds up, but I loved that movie when I was young. I've always said, now it's going to happen, but if I ever had the opportunity to remake something, I would remake Flight of the Navigator. I think that's a movie.
You just know somebody's going to listen to this show and quickly snake the option.
Probably.
And
I
not
remember
do
they were
anything with
developing
it.
for a while. What's that?
They won't do anything. They just don't want you to get it.
Yeah. It'll be like some high school
F that
rival
guy.
of mine.
Somebody who hate listens to the show.
Yeah. Derek! My heart.
Yeah. Derek.
Well, Star Wars is the obvious one. I saw Star Wars. I
can't
saw
go
Star
wrong
Wars
there.
in first grade. They showed it to us in school. I think I've talked about that. And then the Goonies, of course. That's again.
just mention the
6
Goonies.
might be a little young. I don't know, but 8. I remember seeing that about 8, and that
Well,
was like,
Superman the movie
yeah,
is an easy sell.
Mm-hmm.
It's an enveloping kind of movie, especially if you're that age. I would also say maybe a little bit older, Batman '89.
yeah.
I'd
I
say
was
like 7 or
9
8.
when I saw that, and that felt about right because I remember some of it being scary, but I kind of enjoyed the scariness a little bit.
I feel like you can be like 7 or 8, and they'd probably be okay.
Yeah. What's the other one? Oh, I was going to say, and again, this is total our nostalgia trip, so I don't know if this is helping, but Ninja Turtles, the first one from 1990.
Sure.
Man, I loved that movie as a kid.
You know what's funny is, like, I think anybody who listens to our show regularly, like, would have known what movies we'd
Yeah, they are not surprised at all. They're like, is this a rerun?
Yeah. Right. So I will say definitely don't show any of the Saw movies.
No.
Because
No.
you want to start with the Jigsaw, the prequel. That's, and work your way up.
It helps. It's sort of like, your parenting style, whether you show the prequels first or the OT. But, I think there's something fun about going back and learning about Jigsaw, like the machete order of the Saw movies. But
No pun intended, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know there are parents who take little kids to those types of movies. And I think that's just objectively bad parenting.
I don't understand it, but
Yeah.
oh,
But
I keep thinking. I'm trying to think now, and I keep thinking. I think slightly too old, but The Rocketeer. That's a movie I'd love to live on somehow. I love that movie. I think I was 10.
Yes. Oh, actually, not related to The Rocketeer, but The Iron Giant is another one I would recommend. And that's
Oh, there you go. See, now that's
recent.
probably more in line. There you go.
Yeah. So that is a cross section, and then, folks, if you have any suggestions, send them our way. Let Karen know what you show your family for family movie night.
I think that's great. Actually, I'd love to do a follow up of this. I'd love to cull some other people's childhood movies and things that made a big impression on them, and then we'll pass them along to Kara.
There we go. And got some headlines, Brian.
Oh, do we?
So we do.
Is that what we're doing here?
I'm afraid so.
I'm afraid so.
So there's this Aladdin movie coming out from Disney. Why? Because Disney.
Yeah, I know.
Now, Guy Ritchie's doing it, which is I don't know that fills me with any kind of anticipation or dread. I mean, I guess I'm neutral on that, but
Yeah, that gets a huh from me.
yeah, right. And so this is meant to be an adaptation of the of the animated one from 1992. And let's pause and appreciate the fact that Disney continually finds new veins of brand new income to mine.
Yeah.
Because they basically were just like, hey, let's just redo the things that we did decades ago.
Yeah. But to their credit, they've been pretty good, right?
Did you see Beauty and the Beast?
They're fairly successful. I did not. Being honest, I probably won't.
You're not really the audience.
Nah.
I feel like the people who are the audience for that are the young girls who grew up watching the original cartoon.
Yeah.
Young girls who grew up watching Emma Watson.
Yeah.
And creepy old men who also grew up watching Emma Watson. That's basically the Venn diagram.
That's
for
funny though,
Beauty
because one of my last job, I had a friend who she's familiar with Star Wars, but
Okay.
we talked about Star Wars every day at lunch, and it was always like her, like, oh, it started. Like now, the last 20 minutes of lunch is over for me. And I remember when Beauty and the Beast, the trailer came out, that was her Star Wars trailer. Like she was so excited to
How
see
funny.
that. So yeah, I mean, there was definitely. I don't even need to back this up. The
Beauty and the
box
Beast.
office is huge.
My wife just watched it a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, and she was like, it's exactly the same thing, and I don't know if that was even disappointment, but just kind of a statement. And I'm like, well, look at the box Disney is in, right? Because if you make
Yeah.
a movie called Disney's Beauty and the Beast, it kind of has to be Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yeah.
The Beast has to look a certain way. You got to have the yellow dress. Like you can't stray from that.
Yeah, in particular that one. I mean, with Jungle Book, they were able to have some license, and they touched on familiar beats and songs and whatnot, but they were able to sort of.
Yeah, because I think Jungle Book, people remember facets of the story. I don't think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they put the stuff in that you need, like you need the bare necessities, etc. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we got so we got this Aladdin movie coming, and I don't know if you remember, there was some controversy about the casting
Yes.
recently, and why
For
because
Aladdin,
Disney-
right? Himself. And
for
Jasmine.
Aladdin and Jasmine.
Yeah.
They were having some trouble because they weren't able to find people of color to play those roles. So there was a possibility of casting a non-brown person. And this seems like it. Let's acknowledge the fact that in 2017, this is something that is deemed unacceptable, because to me that's progress.
Yeah, I agree.
Because 7 years ago, the Prince of Persia was Jake Gyllenhaal.
Right. Which, can you imagine? I actually can't imagine that happening now.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, 7 years. That's not that long ago. I mean, I remember you and I went and saw that movie,
I do too, yeah.
and the notion of whitewashing in that film was discussed, but it wasn't. The conversation never reached critical mass.
Right.
Whereas with this, it was one of these things where people were like, no, not cool. You have to cast people that are ethnically, at least in the neighborhood, you know? And so Mina Massoud plays Aladdin, and Naomi Scott from Power Rangers is Jasmine.
Yeah, which I was really happy for her. I thought Power Rangers, it was unfortunate it didn't do very well, but we all liked it. And one of the main reasons was because of the kids. They were really good.
Yeah, exactly. And she's part Indian. I didn't know that. But Disney just really needed a white guy in this movie. And so they announced that there's a new Prince character who's going to be played by Billy Magnuson.
Okay.
Who do you know this guy?
No.
So Billy Magnuson, you know, what I know him from is in The Big Short, the movie The Big Short.
Yeah.
If you remember, like Steve Carell's team, they go to like Florida to talk to the people who are given the loans, and they're these two dude bros.
Yes.
Do you remember? So
I
he
do
was
remember
like,
this, yes.
he was like dude bro number one.
Oh, funny. Okay.
So he's been cast as this new Prince Todd, I think. And I'm assuming it's not like a major role,
Yeah.
but I just think it's funny that this poor guy, because this same guy was at the middle of another controversy because there's a movie that's out right now, or it might be out of the theaters already, called Birth of the Dragon.
Yes.
Which is like the Bruce Lee origin story, but it's actually about this fictional white guy whose perspective the film is told through. And it's this actor. It's him.
Oh, interesting. Oh, man.
So I'm like, dude, fire your agent. Cause
Yeah. Or he just
I always feel
conditioned
bad
that this
for
is
the guy,
part
you
of
know?
the, yeah, this is what it's like to be in a movie. You know, you have that backlash. And
like twice in a row, he's like the token white guy backlash, you know?
Yeah.
I just want to say, I mean, I have no problem with him being in the film, and I would imagine that it's a relatively incidental role. I can't imagine that, you know what I mean? Like, people like to make a big stink about stuff. I just feel bad for this guy, Billy Magnussen, because it's like, God, 2 movies in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine, who knows, but you imagine he plays some sort of ignorant suitor or something.
That's what I'm thinking.
He travels far to win Jasmine's hand, but she has no interest or something. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, from, you know, the fictional land of white people. I don't know. Right? But I mean, it's interesting because you always have this conversation. Oh, it's whitewashing. That's what somebody said, and I'm like, how is it whitewashing if he's playing a white guy?
Right.
Isn't that just bathing if you're a white guy? Like,
Yeah.
And this is the thing, right? Because I feel like the terminology is getting a little lost. I'm like, look, if you have a character of color, and in the original source material, and you either cast a white person and have them playing a different race, or you change the race to white, that would be whitewashing, right? Anything other than that is just putting Billy Magnussen in a troubled spot. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate for him specifically.
Yeah. I agree. I was just gonna throw out there. Yeah, one of my favorite theories I heard about it was that he's gonna play Prince Charming, and it'll be after the credits, and he'll be like, "We're recruiting a team of princes," and it's gonna set up the Disney prince.
You think you're the only prince? You think you're the only prince in the universe?
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that movie.
I think that would be really funny.
You know, that's terrific. Yeah, and Will Smith is playing the genie. That is official, and I don't think you or I are particularly excited about seeing this movie, but I'm guessing we will be talking about it when it comes next year, I think.
Well, it's funny too because, like you said, the Beauty and the Beast, it's inevitably beholden to what came before it because people that's why people love it and that's what they want to see. And then with The Lion King coming out, I can't even wrap my head around that. That's another one where I feel like if you change it too much, you can't change that one too much. So with this one, I mean, this Aladdin is so specific because of Robin Williams.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's a majority of why that movie is beloved. So it's hard to imagine what they're going to do with this one. Because it can't be like Beauty and the Beast.
That's one thing where I'm kind of like, well, it's almost the only thing you can do is cast somebody like Will Smith, who is so completely different.
Yes.
From Robin Williams, yet just as memorable.
Right.
I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of woo.
Right.
Oh hell no.
Yeah. Flying out of the Cave of Wonders.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
What else is happening, Brian?
Well, we were talking about this. We weren't even planning to bring this up, but we were saying we were sort of intrigued by this whole interaction or one-sided interaction with Tyrese and Dwayne Johnson. The short of it is Dwayne Johnson, it's become sort of a every other 3 months he posts a picture of him signing contracts is something he likes to do. Okay. And so he did another one where he was signing some contracts, and I think he even hashtag whatever the hell his name is from the Fast Furious movies. I'm sorry. I don't even remember his name. Hobbs. And so then out of nowhere, Tyrese reaches out to him publicly, basically saying, like, don't do it, man. Don't do it. Like, you'll be letting all of us down. You'll be letting Fast Furious fans down. Don't do the Hobbs movie until after.
Don't do the Hobbs movie. Okay.
Yeah, Fast 8. Oh, because, yes, I'm sorry. In the Fast 8, they sort of tease the idea of a spin-off movie with Hobbs and the Jason Statham character.
Yeah, I
And
think that movie's going to be called The Bald and the Beautiful.
it should be.
Just the two of them, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Tyrese seemed very odd, like why he would be so public and seem so desperate to have him hold off on that movie. I don't quite understand it. I don't know. What was your thought on that?
I mean, my sense is that if he takes time off to do Hobbs, then that kills the momentum for Fast 9. It's funny because Tyrese, and he's deleted these now.
Yeah.
This is a weird way for celebrities to communicate, but like I get lay people reaching out to celebrities
Yes.
through social media. I find it odd that Tyrese couldn't just like pick up a phone.
I mean, did you think he thought people would get behind him or something?
Apparently he's like, hey man, like return my calls, and then like it felt very like, like, you know, that like this past week there's a story about some friggin' douchebag in England or somewhere where he's like playing a piano
Yes,
until
yeah.
his ex-girlfriend comes back to him. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
And somebody punched him, and that's why he stopped. I'm not saying people should get punched, but I will say that
you
if you're
took the words out of my
34
mouth. I'm not advocating violence, but that's kind of a funny end to that story.
Anyway, this feels a little like that. Like, dude, maybe I don't know. Like, I don't know. I get it, right? Because the thing is, by all accounts, Vin and Dwayne, I feel like I'm comfortable enough with both of them to be on a first name basis.
Yeah.
They are not. They don't get along.
Yes. Oh.
So I wonder if that's sort of part
There's
of the
more.
drama underlying this. You know?
Yes. That makes sense. Still a weird avenue to reach out to him.
Yeah, again, it's something where you say, like, I get it, like, as a lay person, if you tweet a celebrity, and, I mean, what are the odds that they'll respond, right?
Right.
Although,
Well, and yeah.
I wasn't planning on bringing this up, but, you know, I sent a tweet to Mark Hamill, like, 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Like a random, nothing important, either.
It's like just
And I was
thinking
like, oh,
about
it'd be
you.
cool if you tweeted a response. He sends me a direct message.
Yeah. That was crazy.
So
yeah.
So and the question it was like, hey Mark Hamill, like I have to say it that way because that's how it was in when the commercials for Star Wars toys, was that you doing the voice? Like that was in my head, that's how it sounded. Because like if you watch Star Wars commercials from the 90s, it totally sounds like Mark Hamill's doing the cell. And I was like, well, I could see that. Even he was doing voiceover at the time. You know,
Yeah.
so I was like, I wonder if that's him. And I was like, why don't I just tweet him and ask? So he sends me a direct message. But here's the best part. I'm not saying that that's anything amazing, except for the fact that I was looking at my phone, and my oldest son was kind of looking over my shoulder, and then bing, you have a message from Mark Hamill pops up, right as my kid is like looking over my shoulder,
Yeah.
and he's like, Mark Hamill sent you a message? And I'm like, yeah. You know, in my head, I'm like, holy crap, Mark Hamill just sent me a message. But I'm like, yeah, you know, Mark Hamill just sent me let me just go ahead and respond to Mark Hamill. Let me go ahead and do that. Thank you, Mark. You know, and my kid's like, oh my God. You know, so I think I earned my cool points for the year just because of that.
Well, and it's funny too because he responded, then you said something else, then he responded again with like a little smiley face or something.
He
Like
sent-
it was it was an interaction. It wasn't just like a one-off.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a smiley.
Yeah, it was
from
cool.
Mark Hamill. So eat that, world. Anywho. So anyway, we hope Tyrese and Dwayne Johnson work out their differences.
Oh man, yeah, thoughts and prayers.
It's just funny because Tyrese in the message was like, "We got kids in private school. We got to make sure that they can keep going," or
Did
something
he
like
say
that.
that? I don't remember that.
He said that, and I'm like, "Really, Tyrese? Like how much money are you blowing through if the delay of Fast and Furious 9 will potentially take your kids out of private school?" You know?
Oh man.
Anywho, one person who's obviously not worried about his future income because he's retiring from part of his bread and butter is Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson. We've said this before. He is my January comfort.
I shed a tear when I read this headline on your behalf because I was like, oh.
Yeah,
Brian gonna do?
I've seen almost every January Liam Neeson action film. And I used to anticipate them. Like they were, of course I'm going to see that in the theater in January. And in an interview recently, he told Sky News that he is going to soon retire from these action films. He says they're still throwing serious money at me to do this stuff, but guys, I'm 60 blanking 5, and audiences are eventually going to go, come on.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, Liam Neeson's. I was like, no, I will still go. And I mean, we got Harrison Ford playing Indiana Jones at 75 plus.
Liam Neeson could be 115 years old, and I still believe he could demolish anybody who walks into a room with him.
Yeah, and then the trailer for The Commuter came out this week, which is, I mean, exactly what you're picturing. Him on a train and some sort of mystery, and it turns into an action thing. And I was like, yeah, right. Of course.
But you can just picture him in the room. Guys, I'm 60 effing 5. No, but nobody's going to believe it anymore. And people are like, I disagree, but I think I have to agree.
Yes. Actually, it's funny because just yesterday I clicked on a Reddit link that was saying before he was an actor, Liam Neeson was a teacher. But the reason he had to stop teaching was because he punched a student. True story. This is from an interview with him. And apparently, apparently some kid, he was like, yeah, kids, I'm paraphrasing all this, but kids, can be unruly. And I was telling students to be quiet, and one kid wouldn't be quiet. So I went over there and told him to leave the classroom. And the kid pulled a knife on me. So I instinctively punched him in the face. He's like, I felt threatened. And he's like, soon after that, I was not a teacher.
Now let's I'm gonna reenact that in one of my classrooms, and let's see how that ends.
Yeah, can you imagine? Though he's huge.
Who messes with Liam Neeson?
Yeah. Oh man.
By the way, he's 65 years old now. So if we reverse engineer and do a little math, that means he was 38 when he did Darkman.
Whoa. He does. Yeah. I saw a bit of that on cable, which I had not seen in years, and I was surprised how young he looked.
He does. He looks practically boyish.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But R.I.P. Liam Neeson action movies.
Yeah, apparently soon.
But wasn't he supposed to do a parody of Liam Neeson action movies? I feel like that was a thing. Did I just
that I don't know, but there is a movie that plays on Showtime or whatever sometimes. I forget I think it's called Tooken.
Okay.
And it is horrid. But anyway, it's a guy doing Liam Neeson, and it's one of those terrible parody movies of the past 10 years sort of things.
Well, if you want the real thing, you've got one more chance with The Commuter.
Apparently.
And then he's going to segue to more serious fare, such as the first installment in our trailer talk for this episode, and this is Mark Felt.
Mm.
Do you know who Mark Felt is, Brian?
Yes. I had to be reminded actually before the show. That was one of those names that you're like, oh, I know that name, but why?
Well, because we know him historically by the name of Deep Throat.
Mm-hmm.
So he is the man who brought down the Nixon White House, and this film stars Neeson as Mark Felt, and is coming up in a few weeks. Let's play the trailer for this, some of the trailer, and then we can talk about it.
The nation tonight is in the midst of what may be the most critical constitutional crisis in its history.
The White House has no authority over the FBI.
We can
At all.
all this truth. It must be terrifying to you.
No one can stop the driving force of an FBI investigation. Not even the FBI.
So the full title of the movie is Mark Felt, the Man Who Brought Down the White House, which seems a little on the nose to me. The timing of this film seems remarkably coincidental, given that there have obviously been comparisons with the current administration to Nixon. And if you have a character like Mark Felt, who is now brought back, his role historically is brought back into the conversation about whether he is a hero or a traitor.
Right, and also this is off the cuff here, because like I said, I wasn't sure who he was before we started talking about this. But didn't he recently? I mean, he was kept a secret for a very, very long time. But then I think near the end of his life, his family encouraged him to come forward with his story. So this is a recent reveal, isn't it?
Yeah, about 10 years ago. Yeah, Bob Woodward, well, more than that, so it'd probably be about 14 years ago. But yeah, Woodward had promised him that he wouldn't, as long as he was alive, he wouldn't reveal his identity.
Yeah.
and he kept his word. In the film, All the President's Men, we see him in shadows, but he's played by Hal Holbrook, who does not look like the real Felt did. And you know, I think he passed away in 2008, and you know, even before he died, that conversation had already begun. Is he a hero or is he not a hero? And I mean, I don't know. You know, what would, and I'm assuming this is a film that'll answer, but I think that when you put Liam Neeson in the lead role, you're sort of putting your thumb on the scale a little bit.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'll let this movie decide for me when it comes out, so.
Which, I mean, again, just watch the trailer and it's pretty clear. And it can't help but feel like either intentional or not a commentary on our current historical moment.
I'm sure, yeah.
But man, I'm a sucker for like real life political thrillers.
Oh, me too.
So,
I'm totally on board for this.
I'm very confident. I'm like if Liam Neeson is stopping action movies to do more stuff like this, hey, it's all good.
Yeah, as long as Neeson's around, I guess I didn't realize how much I needed him until I was teased with the idea of him going away.
You need some Neeson in your life. Another based on true events film coming out is The Disaster Artist.
Yes.
Which is based on the making of one of the worst movies of all time.
Mm-hmm. The Room.
The Room.
Los Angeles, everybody want to be star. You have to be the best and never give up.
When I get up on stage in front of people, all I can think about is, what if they laugh at me? You, man, you're fearless. I want to feel that too.
I don't care. I'll do it. You and me, we both have this dream.
Yeah, I guess we do.
That we'll be famous. We'll show them. Watch out, here we come. To be or not to be.
It's not going to happen for you. Not in a million years.
But after that, this town, Greg, they don't want me.
Wish we could just make our own movie.
That great idea.
I cannot remember. Have you seen this movie, The Room?
I've not seen the whole thing. I've seen enough of it to get the gist of it. I don't know that I want to subject myself to the entirety of it.
Yeah, well, for some context, this really mysterious person, Tommy Wiseau, if I'm saying his name correctly. Wiseau, years ago, with inexplicable amounts of copious cash, made a movie that is so bad that people now, it's become a midnight screening cult classic sort of thing, almost Rocky Horror-esque, where people go watch it Saturdays at movie theaters, and they have certain cues where they react to the screen or throw things at the screen or recite lines back to the screen. And this is based on a book that was written by one of the actors from the movie The Room about his experience making this film. And now that book is being adapted by James Franco, who directed it, with his brother and friend Seth Rogen and whatnot in it, about the making of this weird movie. So,
have you read the book?
No, but I would really like to, because I'm really enamored with, well, enamored is not the right word. I'm very interested in the story of this film, because I remember this movie when I first moved to Los Angeles. I remember that creepy billboard.
It's part of your, long-term memory.
This is part of my Los Angeles experience, this movie. And it's featured in the trailer. I remember that billboard. I remember being like, what is that? And then I remember being explained what the movie was, going to see the movie at a midnight screening, and then sending YouTube clips of it to people because I thought it was funny. And now I cannot believe that the story of the making of that weird thing is now a movie that sounds like it could be an Oscar contender.
I know, isn't that something?
Just an insane story. So.
Yeah, and I, as soon as I saw this trailer, I'd been looking forward to this movie for a while. Saw the trailer, and then I downloaded the audiobook, which is read by Greg Sestero.
Wow.
Right, and he does this perfect Tommy Wiseau impression throughout.
Oh, that's funny.
It's almost worth listening to just for that, But yeah. I downloaded it like 2 days ago. I've already blazed through like almost half of it, give or take.
Oh, wow.
So it's really compelling, and it's so interesting because the portrait that's painted of Tommy Wiseau it's not what you expect. Like this is not like an airing of dirty laundry. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's fully acknowledging that he's a weird dude, but the way Sestero talks about him in the book is almost affectionately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's and again, he doesn't pull any punches in terms of him being just an odd duck, but it's very like the relationship they have. I think in the book thus far. I mean, for all I know, it goes to shit by the end, but I'm assuming it doesn't because both of them together are out there promoting the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming they have some kind of relationship right now.
Yeah, I think that's why this movie looks like it could be good too. Is it's not like it's just dumping on a person. For making this movie that everybody unintentionally laugh at. But it looks like sort of a tortured artist who may not be able to live up to the aspirations he has in his heart, right? Which is sort of relatable, I think, to a lot of people, and sort of... So it's a sort of like we were saying with the like an underdog story. You know what I mean? There's something about that where you just can't help but root for someone in an underdog situation, and it looks like this movie is going to be coming from that angle.
Yeah, and I love in terms of the behind the scenes aspect where Tommy Wiseau wanted Johnny Depp to play him,
right.
And he ultimately was okay with James Franco because as it happens, Tommy Wiseau is a huge James Dean fan, and he found out that one of the first things that Franco did was play James Dean.
Oh, wow.
So because of that, he was like okay with James Franco playing him.
And I gotta say, I thought he did a pretty decent job.
Yeah,
it doesn't
look like an SNL parody or something.
Right. And he looks surprising. He resembles him to a surprising degree, something I did not expect.
Yeah. It's so if the movie's anything like the book, if it stays close to the book, I think it's going to be something really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I've been hearing just raves out of like TIFF and stuff. So
yeah, this is one of my anticipated winter films for sure.
And if that's not yet another measure that we've like reached like old man status, where this is the stuff that we're excited about, you know? And I say that as a good thing because, you know, again, the ones I'm excited about, Mark Felt and The Disaster Artist.
It's funny.
And then Star Wars and all that too.
Yeah, of course.
And this comes out in December.
Yeah.
Let me look at the...
I know, I was like, I just closed the thing I had up for it.
December 1st.
December 1st. Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. Moving on. Speaking of Star Wars, Brian, we do have some Star Wars news.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that's become sort of surprisingly frequent Star Wars news, but a director has been let go from a Star Wars production. And
as you recall, that news broke as we recorded our last episode.
Yeah.
You were on the spot with the story.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah, right when it was happening. And so you even called it that day that we would very shortly hear who would be taking...
I was like, by the next time we record, we'll know. Oh. And I also, I mean, I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but I guess I will since nobody else is around. I also called who the new director would be.
Yep, which is J.J. Abrams.
That's right.
And I know we tossed around a couple names that we thought could do it or would be chosen to do it, but J.J. Abrams, even I remember when we were talking about it, that just made sense.
I was like, realistic choice, pie in the sky choice. I was like, realistic is J.J. Abrams, pie in the sky is Steven Spielberg.
Right.
We got the realistic choice. And it's funny because people are polarized. It seems like a lot of people are upset. They're like, well, it's just going to be a remake of Return of the Jedi.
And I understand that, actually. I mean, I understand that sentiment. It's you and I had just recently listened to the Force Awakens commentary.
Yes.
And I do have those feelings where I don't revisit The Force Awakens as much as I thought I might. And it's on Stars a lot, so I find myself clicking on it. But I find myself clicking off of it as well. And I think it's... I still like it, and I still think it is a good movie, but it did feel maybe a little too similar to A New Hope for a lot of people's tastes. I think I'm somewhere in the middle on that. After listening to the commentary, why I bring that up is he sort of goes into why that is. and what the decisions that they made. And I understand his decisions, and I don't know that they play as well as I would have loved for a new Star Wars film, but I still think that movie, in terms of look, knocked it out of the park. And so I have no doubts that Episode 9 is going to look spot on, or at least how I would like a Star Wars movie to look. And so it's, you had to look back to look forward, and that's what he basically said he tried to do with 7. And so I can only imagine, you have Rian Johnson taking out 8, and he's going to do whatever he's going to do, and he's going to push that story in the direction it's going to go. And I doubt that J.J. Abrams is going to remake Return of the Jedi. I think this is his opportunity now to tell a new story, a different story. And, I'm optimistic about it.
Well, a couple interesting points here, and this is just chatter that we've seen online. There's a sense of like, well, they've gone back to the safe choice, and that sort of glosses over the fact that there were in fact problems behind the scenes with The Force Awakens.
Yes.
And this is stuff JJ has alluded to very indirectly, because he's, I think, more politic than some of his younger colleagues.
Right.
But I think we saw to some extent a power struggle over who got to be the emperor of the brand, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And that push and pull, I think J.J. Abrams had designs on sort of overseeing the new trilogy, whereas I think Kathleen Kennedy was more like, no, you're coming in, you're a hired gun.
Right.
And at least initially, Kathleen Kennedy won out. However, the fact that they've gone back to J.J. Abrams gives him considerably more leverage than he had, 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Did it, at the end of Star Wars, did it have a bad robot production logo? I can't remember.
I feel like it did.
I feel like it did too. So I can imagine, because when he took over, or when he directed Mission Impossible 3, he's now since been a producer on all the Mission Impossible movies. He's like, yeah, J.J. Abrams looks over the Mission Impossible series. So I can imagine him, why wouldn't you try to do that if you had Star Wars offered to you?
I'm on the Star Wars wiki page, and it says Bad Robot produced the film Star Wars Episode 7: The Force Awakens, and will be producing the upcoming Star Wars Episode 9.
Right. But it very, very doubtful it would have any credit on 8.
Right. He wasn't involved in any way. You know what is interesting is, if you remember, Rian Johnson talked about how he put something in there that Colin Trevorrow asked him to put in.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that's like major enough that now they have to like account for that, and it's this thing that,
Yeah, he's like, can you allude to a little boy who acts like a 40-year-old genius and helps his mom solve a murder?
It's like, all right, if you say so.
Hey.
It'd be funny, like, they have no idea what Episode 9 is. The one thing they know is that reference for sure has to be in there.
Yeah.
Because it's in Episode 8. So JJ is doing Episode 9, and by the way, it's been pushed back to December of 2019.
And don't fear, people, Avatar 2 is coming out 2020 December. So,
dude, you know how you ever had a dream where you're like running towards something, and the closer you get, the further away it gets? That's the Avatar franchise at this point.
Yeah, that's funny.
Wait,
we're never going to say your opinion on J.J. Abrams as episode?
I have no opinion. I don't think it's a bad choice. I don't, if it was somebody else, I'd been like, okay, I think it's a smart choice in the sense that it's a brand name that people know. And I said that to you last time. I was like, it's got to be somebody who audiences at least have some familiarity with.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't just bring in some random person.
Yeah.
Now, would I have liked somebody, something, mix things up, get like, Patty Jenkins or somebody? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the clock is ticking, and they needed somebody who could just plug right back in.
Yep.
And if that's your criteria, you basically have Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams.
Right.
And with that, why don't we take another break, Brian, and then we can have our spoiler conversation for this episode.
Sounds good.
All right, we're back, and Also back is the movie It. Back in theaters after first being made for television back in 1990, and also back at the top of the box office for its second weekend. This is a massive hit.
Massive hit.
The highest box office opening ever for an R-rated movie.
Wow.
So that's impressive.
Yeah. Let alone a horror film, I guess.
An R-rated horror film, yeah. 123 million opening weekend. That was last weekend. It's still going to be number one this weekend. Stephen King's It. I don't know. How do we want to talk about it? Do we want to give our non-spoiler talk and then?
Yeah, let's do it. And if I remember correctly, as long as you bring up the box office, wasn't it projected at like 60 or 70?
Yeah, it seems like the projections kept going gradually up with each new piece of marketing. I mean, people talk about how the box office is dead and everything else, and it's like, well, if you make something that people want to see, they'll show up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, crazy, especially after such a disastrous August.
Yeah.
To then, I mean, that really just shows people will go to what they want to go to, right? I mean, they didn't show up for anything like they wanted them to or expected in August, but then you give them something they want, and then in September they show up in $123 million worth. You know, so I don't know.
So this is, I mean, this is a success story, whichever way you spin it. What did you think of the movie? Maybe let's get your non-spoiler take.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about our entry points to Stephen King, which is I don't really have one. I never really. Yeah, I didn't grow up reading his books. I did not see the miniseries as a kid. I've just
really? You didn't?
No, I'm just not. Which, by the way, you say from 1990, and the whole one of the plot points is that this creature returns every 27 years, and this film came 27 years after the miniseries debuted.
I know, it's crazy.
But the only Stephen King thing I have ever read was the 11/22/63 book about the time travel and JFK assassination. So anyway, I know this is a beloved, well-known story for many, many people, but for me, this was my first introduction to this world, to these characters, to this monster. Anyway, so regardless, I had been very much looking forward to this movie because the trailers completely hit my sweet spot, which is 80s kids on bicycles. 80s kids on bicycles with something happening in their neighborhood. I mean, that is like, do you want Brian to show up? That's Brian showing up. And that's how I felt about Stranger Things about a year ago. And I give this as a loving comparison, but to me, this felt like a really good episode of Stranger Things.
And that's, I mean, both this and that are in essence pastiches of that particular, what you're describing. But what's interesting is that it is itself, originally it was set in the 50s.
Right. And was, I mean, obviously an influence on Stranger Things, right? Yes. And now it's funny that this movie can come out and you would be like, oh, this reminds me of that show that was inspired by this thing originally 30 years ago.
At this point, our nostalgia is eating its own tail.
Yeah, and I welcome it. But I just, like I said, I'm not like a gore person. Like I kind of prefer the creepy sort of things, like Shining and Poltergeist and Paranormal Activity sort of movies and things like that. And I thought this movie played into the things that I enjoy, like I said. Like it surprised me how much this story wasn't about scares or horror necessarily. It was really about these kids enduring something terrible. And I thought the movie looked really good. I thought it was shot really well. I thought the score was really fitting and fun and almost throwback in a way. When I say throwback, I mean 80s. Right. In terms of lush score, when they used to actually score films like that. And it had a lot of heart. And I really cared about these kids and their relationships, which we can get into a little bit more. But
So Brian, you have never seen the miniseries?
No, I'm not familiar with it at all. I mean, I'm familiar with Tim Curry's clown, his
which is
look.
Kind of iconic.
Yes. But that's as far as it goes. So all these kids, all their relationships were all new to me.
It was
and
completely
I bought into all of it. And so I was, again, we'll get into a little bit more. I wasn't super scared throughout it, which I think we'll probably get into.
Yes.
But that didn't bother me necessarily, but because, like I said, when I think about this movie, I don't think about the creature, I think about the kids, and I really enjoyed their story.
Right.
So, and it's not without some things that there's a couple moments where it goes from being a good story to where it just becomes sort of and now this scary moment, and then now this scary moment, and now like it kind of loses the thread for a minute there. I think by necessity, because it's about so many kids, they have to have each kid experience something, and it starts to get a little assembly line for a minute there.
Right.
But overall, yeah, I walked out really enjoying it, and even thinking about it a day later or 2 days later, I was like, it only grew. I was like, I really enjoyed that. So, how about yourself?
So, I did see the miniseries when it came out. I was in Saudi Arabia at the time, and I mentioned in my review that I saw it one time 27 years ago, and yet the imagery has stayed with me.
Oh, I
the
bet.
broad strokes, I mean, that tells you how effective it is. And it's not profoundly gory because, I mean, it aired on ABC TV, so it's like, but nevertheless, I mean, the opening scene in the miniseries, by the way, is distinct from this in that it tells the story in a nonlinear fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a choice that they made here, where they basically said, we're going to do past story, that's movie 1, present story, that's movie 2. They did not, and that the book isn't like that either, where it's it jumps back and forth.
Right.
That's interesting. But the opening scene in the film, I remember it from the miniseries, where the little boy gets murdered by the clown in the sewer, and it was, I mean, it's something that was horrifying even back then.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing it in this film, honestly, was almost too much for me.
It's pretty intense, and I don't even think the movie returns to that level of intensity. But
it really doesn't. That was exactly my point. I don't know. Would this constitute a spoiler?
I guess so. I mean, that's the impetus of the entire film. Like, it kicks off with that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's even alluded to in the trailer. But
it's let me put it this way: the way, the degree of detail we get where we see him being killed.
Yes.
For me, maybe I'm more sensitive to this as a parent. I have a very, very hard time seeing that.
No, it bothered me also, and I think people will disagree with us. I didn't think it was necessary for them to go as far as they did.
Yes.
And I think why it hurt even worse was because that actor was absolutely adorable.
He was. Exactly.
And they did a really good job where we're going to lose him in the film in like 5 minutes. They did a really good job of setting up the relationship between him and his older brother.
Yeah.
And there's even a moment I remember where he just like latches his arms around his older brother.
Right.
And it just sold it so well, and it felt so authentic. I actually remember, now that I kind of forgot about it, but I remember I got a lump in my throat because it tapped into the whole, my brother, thinking of my brother sort of thing, and it hit a nerve.
And you, I mean, assuming you had a sense of what was going to happen.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, continue.
But yeah, so I felt like that was like the toughest hurdle to get past because I just thought it was extremely graphic. Yeah, I agree with you. It never reaches that level again. But I really I was struck by all of the child actor performances from top to bottom were terrific.
Mm-hmm.
There was no dumb kid syndrome in the lot of them.
Yeah, good point.
I think the main kid who plays Bill, really good. The little girl, I forget
Bev?
the actor's name. Bev, yeah. Sophia Lillis.
Yeah.
She was great. I mean, she's like a young Amy Adams. This girl.
Yeah, she's very good, and she has to be.
That's right.
The group in some sort of way sort of gravitates around her. And
yes.
I felt like I completely bought into that dynamic.
What's interesting is I found this out after I have not read the book, but there's what you just said that's like literalized in a scene at the end of the book. That,
yeah,
I'm assuming you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Which that's one of those things where you read about it, you're like, why would you think that's a good idea?
I know. Mercifully, it's been replaced with another
Right.
scene.
So do we want to get into some spoilers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Spoiler.
So we have Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we talked about this earlier. It's pretty hard to compete with just sort of the iconography of Tim Curry as the clown. But I think they did partially, clowns are just scary. And I mentioned this in my review. I'm like, I don't know if I thought clowns were scary, so it was effective, or it was so effective that it retroactively made clowns scary.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
But, the makeup is pretty scary. But he does this weird thing with his voice.
Yes.
That's just, like, really unnerving.
Yeah, and his lip.
Yeah.
I actually wonder, his bottom lip does this weird sort of dip. So
it kind of hangs open.
Yeah, slightly unnatural. Yeah, drool will be coming out of his mouth occasionally. And I remember thinking, is that a prosthetic or what is that? And then I saw him on Conan the other day, and he's like, no, it's just this weird thing I can do with my lip. And he did it. And so it really adds to the effect, for sure.
What were some of the other aspects of the movie that jumped out? You said you didn't find it particularly scary.
No, and I wondered if that had to do partially with the fact that we watch so many movies and we know how movies are made, and sometimes you and I can unfortunately see the ones and zeros happening. Whereas my audience, jumped at a lot of stuff, but I kind of saw a lot of it coming. Like I expected to be more unnerved than I was scared, and I do feel like it did that fairly well. It relied on more jump scares than I expected, which don't necessarily always work on me, unfortunately. And it also did this thing that I'm really tired of, where a scare is a result of someone's CGI horror face. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They'll show someone's face, and it's clearly some sort. I mean, it looks like a bad iPhone app. Where it's like, their face looks a little melted, or their eyes are dark. And I remember actually watching The Conjuring with a friend, and I was like, man, this movie's really creepy. And then it finally delved into like weird CGI horror face, and I was like, oh, I'm not scared anymore.
Because it's just, digital zeros and ones.
Yeah, it doesn't blend as well. Maybe it does for other people, but not what I'm used to. But it did have some really interesting. I didn't realize that this creature, this evil entity, takes the form of other things that relate to each kid. And so I thought the burnt boy in the library was kind of cool.
Dude, that part was really freaky.
I really liked that. And I liked it too because he moved in a weird staccato stop motion sort of way.
Yes.
Which is great. That I was like, that is a great choice. That there's something really unnerving about that.
Somebody pointed out to me that scene in the library where we have the new kid, the Ben,
yes,
who's going through the town's history, that as he's looking through this book, if you pay attention, the librarian, the old lady, is in the back of the shot, and she's out of focus, but she's clearly like staring at him.
Oh, weird.
And that's like one of the most unnerving things in the movie.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Yeah, somebody pointed that out online. I was like, yeah, I wish I'd been aware of that,
Yeah. I also liked the painting. There's one of the boys is scared of a painting that's in like a rabbi's office. It's just
my gosh.
Yeah, this was great. It was like this weird, surreal, almost Picasso-esque, scary-looking woman holding a flute. Excuse me. And so then it takes on her form.
Yes.
And I was like, that is such a thing a child would be scared of. Like,
that's
that weird
right.
thing you don't want to look at when you go down a hallway. And then seeing that thing at the end of the hallway, I thought that was really good.
I think that you just nailed it. What the movie does so well, it gets to your childhood fears.
Yes.
Which are unexplainable.
Yes.
And I think this is a movie where these kids exist in this sort of netherworld of maturity, right? Where you're old enough to know how friggin' scary the world is, but you're too young to be taken seriously by adults.
Mm-hmm.
right? So the idea that all the stuff that it does, only the kids see it, that's such a perfect metaphor for what it's like to be that age.
Yeah. And then, with Bev's scare where all the blood is coming out of the sink and her father can't see the blood that is clearly coating the entire room to her.
Right.
And then it lends itself, and this is why I like the film. Then it lends itself to, it doesn't just like move on. It lends itself to this nice scene where the boys come and support her and understand, and they clean it together as friends. And
yes.
I just thought that sweetness was really palpable and really helped push the entire film along.
I totally agree. Yeah.
And then with it, or the clown manifestation itself, I should say, I did enjoy the slideshow when he popped out of the screen like a weird 3D character.
But I liked the part before that.
Which part?
Like before he pops out of the thing, where it's just the pictures are like moving by themselves.
Yes.
And like if he had not popped out of the screen, it would have been just as effective to me.
Okay, yeah. Well, no, I agree. The hair sort of getting out of the face. And it's a clown.
Because you're like, you don't want the hair to uncover because you know what you're going to see.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Which reminds me, actually, when I said the 3D thing, he also does this, the clown does this really weird thing with his eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're in the wrong positions and then he moves them back to center, which was like kind of a fun, creepy little characteristic, I thought. And then lastly, I was going to bring up in terms of scares, it wasn't like a jump scare sort of thing, but I did really enjoy, and I almost wish it had gone a little further into this, or maybe it was just right, and that's why I liked it. At the end, where it takes the looks like his little brother, looks like the little brother, and is trying to psych out the older brother. But then when the older brother calls it out and is like, "You're not him," he like falls on the ground and starts like kind of convulsing, and then sort of like evil cartoon character, or sort of like Judge Doom or something, the little limbs like pop into bigger limbs as he becomes the clown again.
Right.
And I was like, I like this. Like, this is just like scary and cool and weird. That was the stuff I kind of enjoyed.
So it's really interesting to, it never even occurred to me that you've never seen the original.
Mm-hmm.
So you were interfacing with this from an entirely different frame of reference.
Yeah. And it's funny because when you bring up the 50s thing too, that feels like that could play very different. At the same time, I found it when they showed the 80s. Obviously, they had Batman 89 on the movie marquee, which was funny, which is weird because I was live for that, and that this is a period movie. And
you were the same age as the characters in the movie.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, literally. But it's funny because it still felt like there was this subtle infusion of 50s esque or style in it, where the boys were riding 50s style looking bicycles,
right?
So it felt like they were still trying to get that sort of tone in your head a little bit, but it still was thoroughly 80s, right?
Yes.
But
so let me ask you,
what else about your feelings?
Well, I mean,
story, scares.
I didn't, as I said, I haven't seen the miniseries since then, so it was interesting for me to kind of gradually remember.
Okay.
I vaguely remember who the characters are, and I remember their arcs. I actually have a better memory of what's the stuff that happens in the next part.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, the character, the actor who played Bill in the miniseries, the young Bill, was actually Jonathan Brandis.
Oh, yeah. Ladybugs.
Ladybugs and Sequest. He committed suicide, unfortunately, in the early 2000s. But I think that was the first time I saw him. This is my first memory of him. In terms of the scare quotient, I thought there's that one bully.
Yes.
Who looks like if Kevin Bacon and Adam Driver had a kid.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
There's a moment with him in the sewers that was really effective, and then when they go into the house,
yes,
and there's like the 3 doors.
Yeah,
it's like scary, really scary, not scary at all. And in my head, I'm like, Well, of course they need to go on the one that says really scary,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But they pick the one that says not scary at all, and I'm like, well, yeah, because you're a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's what you would do, you know? But yeah, it's. I wouldn't say I was terrified by the film, but I found it effective, and I felt like the big question I had was if they don't get to do that hypothetical sequel, does this hold up? And I don't know that I have an answer to that, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, in some, I don't think you could say a definitive yes, because as we understand it, he'll return in 27 years. And but I guess, okay, so this is something I was going to bring up. Having not seen the miniseries and having not read the book, and like I said, I liked the movie, but I did have a lot of questions, and I thought some of it I didn't understand. For example,
they didn't answer a big chunk of the questions, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't entirely understand it, actually. I didn't understand what he wanted, what his weaknesses were, because, I mean, does he sort of feed on their fear? Because it seems like he wants to murder children, and he has plenty of opportunities, but he doesn't do it at a lot of those opportunities. He just seems to enjoy taunting them. So
well, I think is he like a Freddy Krueger type person?
Exactly. And so they seem to be able to get him to go away by not being afraid of him. So it's again, like Freddy. I mean, Freddy can only hurt you when you're asleep. So I wasn't entirely clear on his abilities.
Right.
And then also, they allude to this, that the town itself, or at least the adults, seem to be sort of under the spell of some sort of darkness.
Yes.
And I didn't know if that was from it itself or, they didn't, I mean, these are just interesting questions that I expect to have followed up on with the second one. So I guess that's my answer. I would feel a second one would be helpful.
Yeah, I said this in my write-up too. I said it's a good setup.
Yes.
I almost feel like we need to withhold judgment until the full story has been completed.
Yeah.
Because it's just not a complete story.
Right.
But as a good starting point, I think it's fantastic. I think I'm going to miss the fact that we don't get these kids again.
Yeah, I thought about that, because if I was looking forward to a sequel, I would be looking forward to spending more time with these people.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so here it's going to be, and I remember in the miniseries, it's like John Ritter is Ben.
Oh, wow.
and Richard Thomas, who is John Boy on the Waltons, he's Bill.
Oh.
And this is from memory. Tim Reed is Mike, and what's his name? What's his name? Annette O'Toole. Annette O'Toole is Bev.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I know what happens to certain of the characters. I obviously won't spoil that for you.
Yeah.
But their arcs take them in different directions. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they all come back together. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Knowing the story in a very vague sense, I'm still looking forward to seeing how they follow up on it.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of my main thing is like I've said a trillion times now, but I don't watch a lot of horror films. To me, horror films are just sort of like they set up dominoes just to knock them down, and story doesn't always seem to matter so much. You're just sort of interested in how they're going to knock down dominoes, right? And I think what I enjoyed about this movie in particular was that when I think of this movie, I don't even think about the scares so much. Like, I just think about the moments between the kids and their camaraderie and their banding together against this evil force. And so it felt like a richer story than I am accustomed to with some of the horror films that I've seen. And for that reason, and that's, the reason I enjoyed Stranger Things so much is the camaraderie with the kids, and they're working together, and so these outcasts finding each other and supporting each other. And that's what I really enjoyed about this movie.
Well, there we go. So I think just to wheel out a chestnut from our early days on this show, I think both of us give it a thumbs up with an asterisk.
Sure, yeah.
With that asterisk being, let's see how they managed to wrap things up in the second chapter, which I don't think has been dated yet.
No, yeah, but it seemed like they want to fast track that thing.
It's a coming. We know it's a coming.
Yeah.
that's a good place to leave that conversation, but we will be back shortly with our next episode talking about Kingsman, The Golden Circle.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Kingsman 1 was such a surprise. Pleasant surprise.
I'm looking forward to watching the sequel. I'm also looking forward to revisiting the first one, which I have not seen since we talked about it, actually. Mm-hmm. So it's been about 2 years now. Real quick before we wrap things up, Brian, is there anything you want to hype up for our audience?
Yeah, in a grand departure from it, I work on a show called Puppy Dog Pals, which is for little kids, and it's on Disney Junior. And if you like puppy dogs and your kids like cartoons and shows about puppy dogs and adventures, I say check it out. I don't think they'll be disappointed. It's a lot of fun.
My 3-year-old, completely unbidden, this is before he sneezed on me, said, I like Puppy Dog Pals.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That's true. So that he doesn't know you. If he does know you, he doesn't even like you. So it's not like he has bias, you know.
Right.
As for me, you can find me at my website, ZackysCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter handle. That's also my Instagram handle. You can also find me at the Huffington Post, where my movie reviews go up regularly, as does this show, as does the Nostalgia Theater show. Speaking of Nostalgia Theater, we got a great one out right now featuring my interview with Cassine Gaines, who you might recall was our guest on this show a couple of years back to talk up his Back to the Future book. He has a new book about the Dark Crystal that's hitting bookshelves any time now. I think it's supposed to hit on the 16th. So like when you're listening to this, it'll be in stores. And we had a good time talking about that show. Check that out. I've been like guest star palooza on like 8 different podcasts. There was an episode of Batman on Film where I joined Bill Jet Ramey and Rick Shue and Ryan Haas, Justin Kowalski. We talked about Batman 89. It's their 89th episode. So to celebrate, they talked about Batman 89. And I was honored and humbled to be part of that conversation because Brian, you and I have obviously a special affinity for Batman 89, so any chance to sort of wax nostalgic about that.
And I have to say, I listened to that episode, and I also listened to the Dark Crystal episode, and I enjoyed both very much. So
there you go.
Yeah.
I also was on an episode of the Nerd Lunch podcast with Carlin Trammell and company, and we talked about Star Trek The Next Generation and the 30th anniversary of that show, which is this month. So I had a good time with that. Cool. And then coming up later this week, I'll be on the Film and Water Show with Rob Kelly, which is also going to serve as a backdoor Nostalgia Theater episode where we talk about MASH, the TV series.
Wow, man, this is just all your the wealth of MASH information and love that you have is all coming.
And you know, it's really funny because all of that happened because of just a throwaway conversation between you and me. But you know, somebody messaged me just recently, and they were like, you know, how do you start a podcast? And I said, without trying to sound glib, I said, find a microphone, find a friend, start talking, start recording.
Yeah.
Well, start recording, then start talking. And the thing of it is, I mean, that's what this show is. And it's just amazing, the doors it's opened, the friendships, the genuine friendships that it's led to. Mm-hmm. It's something I'm so grateful for. I'm just grateful to have this opportunity to do this. And, you know, podcasting is a very small community, and there are a couple people who you tend to have sort of negative associations with, but just on the whole, it's a great group to be part of.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too, is like you don't go into podcasting to become a millionaire. You know, you do it because you enjoy doing it and you have something that you just are dying to talk about. And I look forward to just sitting here and gabbing with you, Zachy. So it's, yeah, I mean, if there's something that someone feels like they're holding in, or they feel like I just really enjoy talking about this, and go for it, man. Do it, put it out there, and we'll check it out.
There you go. Yeah, give us the word, and we'll put the word out for you. But that's a good place to leave this episode. We will be back shortly. We'll also have a new commentary track coming soon, and lots of fun stuff coming, Brian.
I'm looking forward to it.
As am I, and I'm looking forward to everybody joining us on our next episode. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about podcast on the radio.